Waterlily and Satori with everything under the sun.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Satori D, and we got Waterlily, aka Have Faith, and we also have Jessica here. Hey, what's up, Jessica?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Then the embarrassment is like, okay, it's bearable.
Yeah. Well, I think like the whole thing is to that, and I think this is where a lot of the problem is, and it's the people that are in control of the mainstream or whatever label you want to give them, the 1% or the elite or whatever.
The elite.
They don't. I mean, one, they're in a bubble. Like they don't know what's really going on, and they want to keep control. Like this is the whole thing with existentialism and they were talking about institutions don't care about the individual. Like they're there to remain their power. And this is the same thing with the whole institution of like society. They don't care about, and they don't even know what's going on with the people, with the majority of the people, and all they are concerned about, and they waste tons and tons of resources just to keep their control and their power. Tons and tons of resources. Oh my God, like. And this is one of the craziest things. I remember when Donald Trump was on, and I saw that interview when he went with Alex Jones. And I mean, I like some of the stuff Alex Jones does, but then some of the stuff I don't like. And this is me with anything. I'm always kind of in this maybe place, and I look at different sources. But one thing he said that I just couldn't like fathom, and then why Alex Jones too was like kind of like, oh, this is. Yeah, well, he was really pumping up Trump in that interview. He was like giving him softballs all the time. But Trump was saying, "Oh, our military is the worst, and we need to build up our military." Everybody's laughing at us. I was like, "We outspend everybody's military combined, and by like 3." I mean, like, what else do you want to do? Like, guys, seriously, like you want to spend more on our military? It's insane what we spend on our military. That's like a problem. Like we've spent $3 billion on an airplane that we never gonna use. Like, what the fuck are we gonna do with that airplane? Like, seriously, we have like 20 times the nuclear bombs to destroy the world. Like you can only destroy the world once. Like, why do we need all these nukes? Like, seriously, why do you need them? It's like I just couldn't fathom like what the fuck? Like, seriously, this is what you could like say. It's just I can't take any of those guys seriously. Like it's just insane what we are. But I mean, this is also too why things, and it's like a catch-22. Yes, it's really bad, but this is where it gives us the opportunity to shake things up. Like we were talking about on a smaller scale, with me and Have Faith and Anonymity, where you need on a personal level to kind of like go on this self-discovery journey or to quote unquote be awake or whatever phrase you want to use, but you need something shocking. You need like what we were talking about is like having this loss of love or you have something, a negative experience, a near-death experience, or maybe even something really great and enjoyable like the birth of your kids or something, to shock you out of your normal,
like a paradigm shift.
To shock you out of your normal mindset. But so you scale it up to society. Like society needs to get totally shocked out of it. And I think this is kind of like the process if you unfold, because I mean, there are probably some people that do like watch the news and be like, oh yeah, they spoon feed it, but I think that's a small percent. And I have more faith in like humanity, I guess. Maybe I'm naive or something, or maybe I'm just wishful, but I can't, because every time I have a conversation with somebody, and like not all the time, but if you really sit them down and like talk to them, like even my friends that are all involved, say, and like they're plugged into like society and they have kids, but if I go and I sit with them, we smoke a joint or we drink a beer, and it inevitably comes to this thing where that they know like talk shit about, you know, mainstream society or how weird things are and how everybody kind of intuitively knows that this is like wrong. and they might not know how to express it. And I think a lot of it, and this is where you see these people, like what Have Faith was kind of saying about kind of being having scapegoats, like, oh, it's the Muslims' fault, it's the Mexicans' fault, let's build a wall, and all this kind of stuff, and they convert it to anger, and they use it in the wrong way.
I'm sorry. That's just the funniest thing. How are you gonna build a wall?
Yeah. And he said he's gonna have the Mexicans do it and pay for it. And it's
Trump needs to build a wall around himself. I think that would be a good
Yeah.
idea.
And the funniest thing about Trump, and anytime I see someone that likes Trump, and I don't like Hillary either. I can't. That's one thing I'm always kind of debating. I don't know who's worse. Like Trump, yeah, he's outwardly more vocal and bad, but Hillary has such a bad record and such shady and crappy stuff that she's done.
Oh God.
And so I don't know who's
And the
worse,
thing
like
is,
the
if
guy that
people-
is outwardly bad, or the one that's kind of like in the closet with all her shadiness. And even at that, most of
Yeah.
her laundry's out.
People don't research their presidents. People
Yeah.
just vote on whatever they're saying, or what they're wearing, or the gender they are. I've seen people say like, "Oh yeah, vote for Hillary because
my
she's a
God,
woman,"
yeah.
and shit like that. And
Oh,
I'm
I
like,
hate that.
Okay.
Don't vote for someone because they're a
Yeah.
color or they're a gender or they're this or that. Vote for what they're doing. They have been doing throughout their years, throughout their lifetime. Vote for, what they're saying they're gonna change and actually gonna do it, and vote for this and that, and because they're not gonna do anything, I'm already like, I'm not gonna vote because it's not gonna help.
Yeah.
They're not gonna do anything.
And it's not like
they would get shot. And then
I was gonna say they
they
can't really do anything. They can't. But I was gonna go back to what you were saying, and I had this ex-girlfriend, and we used to have these good conversations, and she was intelligent too, and it just boggled my mind. And it was when Obama was first running, and so it's John McCain, and then John McCain picked Sarah Palin as the running mate, and she said she was going to vote for John McCain and Sarah Palin, and I'm like, really? Have you heard Sarah Palin talk? Like, she's horrible. And like, she couldn't even pick. Like, they asked her what's her favorite magazine, and she couldn't even name a magazine. Like, she couldn't even lie. Like, pick Newsweek or Wire magazine, or I don't know, Hustler or Playboy, or I don't know, name something. You can name one magazine. Like, you don't read at all, and you're like running for like office, and like her foreign policy was that I could see Russia from my house. Like, come on, like seriously. And so
What?
yeah, that's what she said. And so I was like, this is obvious that they're pandering. Like, she was nowhere on the radar, and then all of a sudden in a month she's the running candidate, and just because Hillary had a lot of momentum. And I'm like, you can't see that? And we have these discussions, and she was like, no, then we need a woman in power, and it's gonna blah blah blah, move women forward and break the glass ceiling. And I'm like, yeah, but she's like the wrong woman. Like, it will like put women back. Like, and this is another conversation I had earlier, and it was okay. So I had this one experience I mean different experiences on mine, but this one run-in with I don't even know what his name was, but I went to this whole thing like, if you add me, I add you, and then I go to your site and I look at your feed, and even if I kind of like I will like something, but if I really like something, then I'll comment or remind or start a conversation with you. And so I go to his site, and I'm like, oh my god, I just befriended a white supremacist. And like, we had this good conversation. we had this great conversation. Like, on like, I forgot what I posted. I posted something like we need to like galvanize people to like, because society sucks, or I don't know, like something about like we all need to like come together and unify, and like, blah blah blah, like something mystical, right? And then he was like, yeah, like we need more people like that. We need to unite and stand together and fight the powers that be and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, wow, he's a little bit more like, seems a little bit more militant to me, but I like his energy, I like his spirit. So then I go to his site, and then I'm like, oh my god, I think he thinks I'm white. I'm like, oh my god, like I was like, I just befriended a white supremacist. And so one of the things that he had, and it was during the newest Star Wars, and they were complaining about how one of the main characters was black, and how it's messing up the franchise, and they're destroying white culture, and it's not cool to be white, or like, you know, you can't be proud to be white, and all this kind of stuff. And like, I'm like, okay, that's weird. And then like 2 weeks later, I go and watch Star Wars with my younger cousins, and I didn't really like Star Wars. But anyways, I'm watching Star Wars, and so the only black character in Star Wars was a janitor. Literally, they had a joke about him cleaning the toilets. Basically, he was cleaning the shitter. This is what's that, if anything, that's putting black people back. Like, they finally have a main character in a major franchise, and he's a janitor. He's the help. And I'm like, come on, like, if anything, you should like Star Wars because they did that. I'm like, me as a minority was like, oh my god, like, are you serious? Like, this is the...
Today, the #1 trend on Twitter was Boycott Star Wars 7. And it happened in 3 phases. Phase 1, a bunch of racists took to the internet and said, boycott Star Wars 7 because it supports white genocide. Phase 2 was people using the same hashtag to decry that first group of people. Fuck you, racists! Boo! And then the third wave was people going through and saying to the second wave, you guys are a bunch of idiots. It wasn't really racist, it was just trolls from 4chan. Well, anyway, the tweets are so fucking hilarious that I'm just going to proceed as if they're real because I've not seen any evidence that they aren't.
I'm going to boycott Star Wars 7 because I'm tired of seeing white people portrayed as helpless and stupid.
95% of all movie heroes from Hollywood movies are white. I mean, I'm not complaining about that. I'm not one of these people who's like, we need more arbitrarily this demographic or this demographic in the movies. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not concerned. But I certainly don't freak out when they cast a black guy in a movie and say, this is your hero. I'm not like, bullshit! That's not my hero! We don't even have the same skin pigmentation!
Boycott Star Wars 7. If I wanted to see apes, I would just go to the zoo. And it shows an ape with a lightsaber.
You know, as fucked up as that is, it does kind of make me wish that the main character of Star Wars 7 was actually an ape. You know, you could do like a big Planet of the Apes Star Wars crossover. Especially since the Planet of the Apes movies, at least the last 2, have been surprisingly good. You know? Turn Caesar into a fucking Jedi. Combine the franchises. That shit could be off the hook. Do people still say off the hook? No. Yeah, kids. That shit's gonna be dope, yo.
Don't be whack.
Don't be whack, home skillet. I am extremely white.
Disconnect that people have, and like when they only look at the surface level stuff, but there's a lot of undertones and subtexts to stuff that people, I don't know, they don't realize. But I mean, I think they realize it at a lower level, and it's kind of hard. And I think you need something to jar you out of that, and you need, but also too, this is why I kind of like more. I mean, I could be political, but I try not to be that political on mindset. I mean, I'm aware of stuff and I'll speak my mind, but I more like to focus on the power of art, the power to be creative. And I think when someone experiences, and this is why I always use, and it's a quote by Allen Ginsberg, and you probably heard me say it a couple of times and I didn't, remixed it in a spoken word poem, and I did it in my visions for the panel shows. Like, beauty is beauty. That's all there is to it. If you're interested in you, then you're stuck with your death. But if you get interested in beauty, then you launched onto something mysterious inside your soul that grows like a secret insane thought, and then you're it. So that thing like really resonates with me, and I think that's true because like I remember a lot of times I have experiences where I listen to really good music, like live performance, or I see a really good artwork, or I see a really cool movie, or I read a really insightful book, and it messes with your mind. Like you may not fully get it, but like later you're like, oh man, like you make these connections, and then everything else seems dull, like in the mainstream media. Like I remember my first experience when I went to like a gig and I saw like this underground band, and then I would listen to the radio and I couldn't listen to the radio anymore. I was like, dude, all these bands suck. Like they're not good. They don't have the energy that these other bands have, or they're not saying anything worthwhile. They're all talking about surface level stuff. They're not talking about anything real. And it's always this kind of like skin deep versus like soul deep. And it's hard sometimes because the skin stuff, you know, if you stylize it and you know, you bling bling and or you know, make it like, oh, look at, we're having so much good fun, you overproduce it. Yeah, it could be kind of intriguing. It could be, you know, it's like in food, you know, like fast food. Yeah, fast food kind of tastes good, but like in the long run, it has no nutrition value for you. And then it also kind of makes you sluggish and all this kind of stuff. Versus if you eat something healthy and